Every choice you've ever made, every. Yes, every. No, every. I'll think about it. Has shaped the life you're living right now. From what to eat for breakfast to whom to love, decisions carve the path of our existence. And yet, for something we do every day, decision-making remains one of the most complex and mysterious processes in the human mind. We like to believe we decide with reason. But science tells us a quieter truth. Most decisions are emotional, and logic just shows up later to explain them. Today, we'll decode the psychology of decision-making, why we choose what we choose, how emotion and bias influence our judgment, and how to make choices that truly align with who we are. 1. The hidden machinery of choice at any given moment. Your brain processes over 11 million bits of information per second, but your conscious mind can only handle about 40. So when you make a decision, your subconscious does most of the heavy lifting. It filters data, detects patterns, weighs risks, and delivers a feeling, not a report. That gut sensation you call intuition? It's your subconscious summarizing the data your conscious mind missed. Every decision begins emotionally, and then gets dressed up in logic afterward. 2. The myth of pure logic. We imagine ourselves as rational beings who use logic to guide emotion. But in truth, we're emotional beings who use logic to justify emotion. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio discovered this when studying patients with damaged emotional centers in their brains. They could analyze every possible choice perfectly, but they couldn't decide. Without emotion, there's no preference, and without preference, there's paralysis. Emotion doesn't distort reasoning. It gives it direction. 3. The two systems of decision-making. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman described two modes of thinking. System 1, fast, instinctive, automatic, used for snap judgments. System 2, slow, deliberate, logical, used for complex reasoning. System 1 helps you survive. System 2 helps you plan. But they often clash. Impulse versus analysis. Most daily decisions are System 1. You don't analyze how to brush your teeth or choose a route to work. You rely on habits and heuristics. The problem arises when emotional shortcuts masquerade as rational thought, and you don't notice. 4. The role of bias. Your brain loves patterns, even when they don't exist. This is where cognitive biases shape your choices without permission. Confirmation bias. You seek evidence that supports what you already believe. Availability bias. You judge likelihood based on what's easiest to recall. Anchoring bias. The first number or fact you see anchors your perception. Status quo bias. You prefer familiarity, even when it's worse. These biases evolved to save energy, to make quick decisions in uncertainty. But in modern life, they can make us blind to better options. 5. The emotional equation. Every decision balances two invisible forces, pain and pleasure. The brain's reward system, led by dopamine, constantly asks, how can I avoid pain and seek pleasure most efficiently? That's why procrastination feels logical. It avoids discomfort now, even if it creates more later. It's emotional economics, short-term comfort over long-term peace. Maturity is learning to choose discomfort that builds you over pleasure that empties you. 6. The fear factor. Fear is one of the biggest influencers in decision-making, especially fear of loss. Behavioral economics calls this loss aversion. The pain of losing is psychologically twice as strong as the pleasure of gaining. That's why we stay in jobs we hate, relationships that hurt, and routines that numb. We fear the loss of stability more than we desire new possibility. But fear-based decisions rarely age well. They protect you today, but cost you tomorrow. Growth begins when you start choosing possibility over protection. 7. The paradox of choice. Modern life gives us endless options, which, paradoxically, makes us miserable. Psychologist Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice. When options increase, satisfaction decreases, because expectation rises and comparison intensifies. Too many choices trigger decision fatigue, a depletion of mental energy that leads to impulsive or avoidant behavior. That's why after making dozens of small decisions in a day, you might end up saying, "Whatever, I don't care," to something that actually matters. The cure? Simplify. Limit. Clarify. Freedom isn't having endless options. It's knowing what truly matters to you. 8. The identity filter. Every choice you make silently answers one question. Who am I? We don't just choose based on outcomes. We choose based on identity. You buy a car not just for utility, but because it reflects who you believe you are or who you want to be. This is called self-signaling. Your decisions tell your subconscious, "This is the kind of person I am." That's why values-based decision-making creates peace. When choices align with your core beliefs, you stop overthinking, because there's nothing left to defend. 9. Decision fatigue and overload. Every decision, big or small, consumes mental energy. That's why by evening, your self-control fades. Studies show judges are more lenient in the morning than at the end of the day, not because of bias, but because of exhaustion. When mental fuel runs low, the brain defaults to easy answers, the familiar, the fast, the safe. That's why habits matter. They preserve energy for choices that actually count. Decision power is finite. Use it wisely. 10. Regret and the illusion of the right choice. We obsess over making the right choice, terrified of regret. But here's the truth. There's rarely a single right option, only trade-offs. Regret is not a sign of wrongness. It's a sign of reflection. It means you care. It means you're human. The most fulfilled people don't make perfect decisions. They make peaceful ones. They commit, adapt, and find meaning in the choice they made. Happiness doesn't come from choosing perfectly. It comes from choosing fully. 11. How to make better decisions. Here's what research and experience say about effective decision-making. Slow down. Emotion peaks fade quickly. Wait 24 hours before major choices. Name the fear. Write what you're afraid will happen. Seeing it reduces its power. Limit options. 3 strong choices beat 10 mediocre ones. Imagine regret. Which choice would you regret not making? Listen to both minds. Logic for data. Intuition for direction. Reflect, don't ruminate. Learn from past decisions, but don't relive them. The goal isn't perfection, it's alignment. 12. The neuroscience of clarity. When you're undecided, your brain's anterior cingulate cortex, responsible for conflict detection, goes into overdrive. It flags uncertainty as danger. That's why indecision feels physically painful. But once you decide, even if the choice is risky, the striatum activates, releasing dopamine, relief and reward. That's why action often feels better than endless analysis. Clarity doesn't precede decision, it follows it. You don't think your way into clarity. You choose your way into it. 13. The deep truth about choice. Every decision carries 3 truths. You'll never have all the information. You'll never be 100% certain. You'll always learn something, whichever path you take. Life isn't about making flawless decisions. It's about building a mind that can handle whichever result unfolds. Because in the end, it's not the choice that defines you, it's how you respond to it. So the next time you find yourself torn between two paths, remember, the goal isn't to eliminate fear or doubt, it's to choose with presence. Pick the option that feels like growth, not comfort. The one that makes you proud, not just safe. And then, commit. Because a decision isn't a doorway you peek through. It's one you walk through fully, trusting that you'll build the road as you go. If this episode brought clarity or peace to your mind, take one small action now. Click subscribe, give this video a like, and keep growing with Mind Decode. Because understanding how you choose is the first step to truly choosing yourself.